So today Bungie made their biggest changes to leveling yet. These are actually extremely significant. I know a lot of people obviously know that the grind for leveling this season has been quite long and quite large, but this change is actually going to shake things up quite a bit, make things quite a bit easier, and even just get people kind of on a more even playing field for those that maybe walked away or haven't really done much of the grind or are coming back to the game in in the next couple of days, weeks, months, etc. There's a lot of changes, so we're going to go over those changes, and we're going to also go over some of the things we can do to take advantage of these changes to level as well as possible. So the first thing to note is in the tower there is this TechSec supply drop that has just been given to us by Bungie, and in this chest is going to be a bunch of stuff. Now, first of all, if you didn't already hear, yesterday Bungie announced that unstable cores are going to be going away soon, but for now, basically, because this was the way that they could kind of help us a little bit faster, they just gave us 777,000 unstable cores, which is quite a lot. Now, do note that I believe these cap at 99999, just one under a million. And if you have more than, 222,000, you won't actually be able to grab them. But, if you're in a position like me, you have more than that, but you start using these, and then, you need more, you can come back and get these. But if you don't have any, or if you have very limited amounts, come here, you have basically enough unstable cores to do a lot for the interim until these get removed completely. A few enhancement cores as well. Now the big thing though is going to be the set of gear that we get. We have one for every single slot, one for every weapon slot, one for every armor slot. This is going to boost you up to 300 power if you are below 300 power. So if you're just coming into the game, or maybe you played the campaign and then stopped, or whatever else, if you come here, this gear is all going to be 300 power and going to start you at 300 power, which is a nice catch-up, a nice little boost. Now, additionally, even for those of us that are above 300 power, these are going to be powerful drops. These are, at least at my level, 3 higher. They might be based on like A tier scores, which I'm going to go over here in a second, but at least in the 400 to 500 range, they are 3 higher than my base. Right now I'm 464 and they're 467s, so these can also help you a little bit in terms of getting leveled to continue your leveling journey. Now, one tip if you want to use these drops efficiently is going to be basically using dim, or you can always just do it in-game as well, but dim makes it really easy. You don't have to do any math, you don't have to pay too much attention. Using dim to basically grab these drops as you need them. So what I mean by that is right now we're 464 and 3/8, let's give an example. And our chest piece and our class item is -1, right? So those drops in there are 467s. So if we grabbed a chest piece or a class item, that's going to be 4 points worth of power, right? That's 467 is 4 higher than 463, which would mean we'll be at 464 and 7/8. So my plan here, just to, again, show an example, is to grab either the chest or the class item, and then we can also grab a evened out of the other one to get the +1, or to get the one higher, right? So we'll get a 464. You can either do this just from, playing the game, or if you save season pass stuff like I tend to do, you can do that as well. So let's go ahead and show how that's going to look. So again, we can grab either the chest piece or the class item. Well, if you are, well, really quick, if you are going to do this, and you do have some season pass stuff saved, I'd recommend checking what you actually have in your season pass. I already did that, so I know I have a chest piece and a class item already available, so I could do either one. Doesn't really matter. But anyways, go ahead and grab, we'll do the class item. Boom, that's going to be 467 class item right there. And then when we grab the chest piece from here, again, that'll be 464, so it'll be the evened out drop. And you can see immediately we go to 465 because our new base level is at 465. So we can infuse this if we want to. Let's go ahead and do that just to get rid of inventory space. Also, I do believe, this actually reminds me, that they made unstable core infusion cheaper as well. So, we have 777,000 of them, but it's also like way less cost than it was before. So shouldn't have any issues with unstable cores until they're able to remove them. But anyways, if you go back into the chest now, you're going to see that all these are going to be 468 drops now because our base has gotten higher. So that's how I plan to use these, basically use them as needed, as if one piece gets kind of falling behind, I can go ahead and come here, grab one, and kind of even myself out and get a little bit of a boost a little bit faster. I just like that type of stuff. It does, again, if you just want to grab it all right away, give you a little bit of a head start, that's fine too. But I just like the kind of efficiency side of leveling. I think it's fun. Now the next thing to talk about is the actual kind of gameplay leveling changes, and again, as we just kind of talked about, everybody's going to be starting at 300 power as long as you go to the tower and grab that gear. And if you are below 300 power, I'd recommend just grabbing it all right away. Don't worry about what I just talked about in terms of like, grabbing a certain piece, whatever. If you're below 300s, grab it all, get yourself to 300. But anyways, as you can see on this chart, and I'll explain it because it's a lot of numbers and stuff, basically everything at every level has gotten increased in terms of the amount of power you're going to get per drop. And this is going to really maximize with the thing I talk about next, but let's go over this part first. So for the most part, people are shooting for A's or maybe even A pluses at the highest tiers anyway, so really what matters is this A tier, but even below, we can talk about that a little bit. Basically, it's silver. Again, that's going to be the master tier at 300 plus power, which is where everybody is going to be starting at this point, or, continuing. As long as you are getting as long as you're getting a B, you're getting higher than what you were before. But if you are going for the A, which is very doable, instead of getting +3s for every single drop you get, you're going to get +4s. So, for example, if you're doing, let's say, Insight Terminus that has 2 base drops, instead of both of those drops being +3s, now they're going to be +4s above your base level, which again doesn't sound like a super lot, but as you add up a bunch of drops, like 1 extra power every single time is pretty significant. And for those that have done the grind, you can tell the difference from before, when we were going from 200 to 300 and all the drops were +4s, and then we started going to 300 to 400 and the drops were only +3s, and then you're going to +2, as these drops got lower, you could tell the difference from only that 1 power less. So adding that 1 power is going to be pretty significant. So again, 300 to 400, if you go for A's, you're going to get +4s. Once you're 400 to 500, now again, if you go for A's, it's going to be going from what were +2s up to +3s for every single drop. Or if you go for A pluses, same thing, you'll also get +3s. Even a B plus, sometimes maybe you accidentally didn't get enough score, you set up the score weirdly, or the match made didn't give you enough points for whatever, which they are adjusting and kind of helping with some of that as well in terms of giving us a timer or a score boost no matter what, as long as you beat the timer. It's not necessarily based on how much you beat the timer by. So a lot of that should be fixed too. But even if, for some reason you didn't get an A, you're going from a +1 to still getting that +2. And again, if you do get an A or an A+, you'll be getting +3s now, which is awesome. And then in the 500 to 550 range, which was before +1s, which is really bad. +1s is rough. It's not as rough as it was last season or Ash and Iron, where the highest tier was literally +0s unless you got Lucky Prime. That was the worst. But now, you're going to be guaranteed +2s every single time, even in that 500 to 550 range, as long as you're getting an A or an A+, which again, very doable. You have a lot of range to do that. So now that is a big deal. Again, we were talking anywhere from double, basically, going from +1 to +2, you're doubling the amount of power, or, even +3s to +4s. That's still what? 33%, whatever you want to look at it as, again, per drop. But what's going to be great, and which we didn't show in there, but we'll show here, is that all of the green engrams you have, these little bonus drops that you get, which, again, for a while have not been particularly useful, all of these are also going to scale with the power that your regular drops are. So for example, let's look at the best example we can find here. Let's look at Cabal's Watch, right? So right now, if I run this, which I will go ahead and run this, and we'll show you at the end, I'll skip through and show you what I get at the end, but we'll go ahead and run this in a second. But anyways, what's going to happen here is, you get your 3 regular drops for doing the Cabal's Watch, for this activity. You get 3 drops that are all, at the power that they're supposed to be, like they've been. Again, but those are also going to be 1 higher than they were before. Now, on top of that, you're going to get your 3 bonus drops, the 3 green engrams, that will also be at that same power. So for this first run, we're actually getting 6 drops worth of, again, useful, powerful drops. And then on top of that, you have the bonus focus, which for the first run is guaranteed as long as you get a B or higher, which of course we're going to go for. So you're actually going to get 7 drops for 1 activity. So again, we'll run through this, we'll show you at the end, but this is a huge, huge, huge buff and huge deal. So we're at the end of the mission, took about 11 minutes to finish, and we can see all the drops we got on the ground. This is going to be a lot of tier 5s, as you can see. I think, honestly, some of that might have gone to my postman. I don't even know if I could pick it all up. Well, there's a couple more. I think it just came to me. But as you can see, we got 468s across the board. That's 3 468s and get a heavy. Both of our armors are 468. Got a 468 chest, 468 gloves. And then did not get a helmet. But as you can see, a lot of drops, literally everything tier 5. Another thing that I didn't note before the mission, I didn't really realize or notice until we got into the mission, couple things actually. A is that it is on Grandmaster, even though I'm in the almost 500 range, which before, to get A pluses, I don't even know if that was possible. Unless you were doing Ultimate, but anyways, that was nice. Other thing is, even though we were in Grandmaster, there was no res tokens anymore. So that made that a lot more chill. And then all the enemies were also not swords or anything. They were just you know, not swords or not skulls or anything. They were just kind of like, you know, the regular like gray background enemies, and definitely did not feel nearly as bad or threatening. Which I know they did some changes to levels and how that scaling works as well, but TLDR, the mission, I mean, again, it took us 11 minutes, that is pretty easily my fastest run of those, and I'm not like, you know, some speedrunner of those missions. I'm sure people have done them faster, but it did not feel nearly, I mean, not that it was crazy hard before, but it felt very smooth, very, like, we got through it no problem, and again, as you saw, we rained tier 5s, all of which were higher power, which is super nice for power. And again, the other nice thing, which I didn't mention before, is super nice for tier 5 farming, right? Like, once you get into this range to be able to get tier 5s, you're going to be able to get a lot of them very, very quickly with that many drops. Now, two other things I wanted to talk about in this video. First of all is, you know, the actual ability to get more of the, you know, green engram bonus drops, because that's going to be a big deal now. And so they said today in the patch update that they are no longer going to have those in the daily challenges, basically making it so you don't have to like log in every day to try to like get those engrams. They moved them, as you can see here, into the weekly seasonal or the weekly challenges. So you know, you can log in at any point during the week, knock them all out. You know, you can log in on Tuesday, knock them all out in one day, and get all 20 of them, because there's going to be 4 instead of having like 1 per daily challenge. There's going to be 4 per weekly challenge. And I think they said that, I mean, technically we're losing out on 1 because it would be 21 if you did all these and 20 here. But I believe you get 1 for logging in general. I think they like added 1 there. So either way, this is, you know, nice. You don't have to like necessarily worry about, you know, doing it logging every single day. As long as you log in sometime during the week and start knocking these out, you're going to get a bunch of those portal bonus drops thrown in all over the place. So definitely want to work on your weeklies. Obviously, you also get Bright Dust and XP and stuff too. So first idea, or first kind of change or update there. Now, the second thing to talk about is how this kind of changes the actual like leveling process, right? As again, if you played when this expansion first came out, probably very familiar with the idea of just running Caldera a million times, or maybe Encore, you know, in the where's Encore? Somewhere. Encore in the Pinnacle list, right? And again, it was kind of the most efficient ways and all of that. Now, what's really great about this change making these green engrams worth it is it really incentivizes moving around, right? Like, you know, if I have, now that I did Cabal's Watch, I don't have those 3 extra drops. I should go do Conductor's Keep this time, because it's gonna, again, like I just got 6 drops there, technically 7 because it's the bonus focus. But now I can get 6 drops here. And then once I run this one, I can go get 6 drops here. And then once I run that one, I can do Insight Terminus, get 3 drops plus the bonus focus, so technically 4. I could go do Glassway. That would be 5 drops plus this bonus focus, so that would be technically 6. So, you know, I can run all these different activities and bounce around and really feel good about it, which is super duper nice. And again, as you're kind of doing that over, like obviously I have a bunch saved right now, which changes things. But as you're doing that and unlocking, you know, finishing these seasonal challenges by doing portal activities and, you know, generating orbs and ammo, you're going to get just more added in to different activities. You know, maybe going to Pinnacles. Again, you can go do Nightmare of Gul'ran for 4 drops, technically 5, etc. Now, again, now some of these, you know, obviously the Pinnacles aren't match made. You know, Presage for 5 drops, Encore for 6. That's going to be super duper nice. And also the Fire Team ops aren't match made if they aren't like either the reclaims or the first couple up here on a given day. So either A, I mean, you could, you know, get a team for some of these ones down here, because there's so many, right? I mean, I have so many drops I could do and all these different things. So you can, you know, get a team to run different stuff, you know, Technocrat, Dark Priestess, all this different stuff. Or, I mean, you could run a solo, or you could just wait until it comes into the match made, and, you know, when it's a given day that it actually has match made and has your extra bonus drops on it, then, you know, you'll be good to go. Because the nice thing is these only stack up to 3 as far as I'm aware, and if they're stacked up to 3 already, they'll just add in the bonus drops to something that doesn't already have 3 in it. So it's not like you're losing out unless you have like 3 in literally every single activity. But, you know, at that point you just haven't played. I mean, actually, well, you have played, be able because to even get those, but you haven't played. Yeah, I don't know how that'd even be possible. Like, at some point, you'd have to, like, play an activity that, you know, had the bonus drops. But anyways, that's a side point. And even Crucible could be useful as well. You get your bonus drops in Crucible as well. I'll probably avoid this unless I absolutely need it. But anyways. Now, the other thing, last thing to talk about, right, is within this, and this is nothing new, But within this whole kind of structure, remember that the bonus focuses are guaranteed for your first run of the given day, right? So again, using dim like we talked about before, which I don't know if it's going to be updated yet. We'll take a second here. There we go. We had to refresh the page, but you can see all the 468s I got in that last run. I literally got 6 different slots. 6 of the 8 slots I hit for 468s in one 11-minute activity, which is quite nice. And again, they were all tier 5s as well, so that's also super nice. But anyways, what you can, do with the bonus focuses is, again, just like with the chest that I'm kind of saving and keeping an eye on, is grab things when you need them, right? So it's like right now, obviously, I need a heavy or a helmet. So if there is, a heavy or a helmet in one of these activities that are, guaranteed to give me those things, which I don't know if there are right now, or Midtown would be for the helmet. So that's super nice. So, I could go do Midtown, guarantee that helmet plus, all the other drops as well. So that's super, got some different options there. Now, again, I think what I'll probably actually do is go back to the tower, grab that chest for the heavy, and then that should actually, I think that actually will be enough or very close to enough. Maybe I'll have to grab a helmet from the season pass and then level me, and then I can just go back and run whatever I want. But a lot of different options, right? So like using these guaranteed drops, whether they be from the tower chest or the bonus focuses, super helpful. And again, even if you don't want to do that, just use these green engrams. The green engram bonus drops, like all over the place. Again, even if I said screw that, I don't want to think about that much, just go do Conductor's Keep, get 6 more tier 5 all 470 drops, which you can see here. It'll be 470 this time because I leveled, multiple times from that last run. This is going to get you going anyway. Last thing to talk about is, as you can see here, I'm at an A+ from the match made with like no adjustments. I know they changed the scoring pretty significantly, but yeah, again, even before, like if you just like clicked on it, maybe you'd be at like an A or like a B+, and then if you got the time bonus, you'd like sneak into the A or the A+. But right here, even at 470 or 468 technically, 467 actually, I'm at an A+ from the forecast score. No, I don't got to worry about anything. Like you can just see that the A+ is already there in matchmaking. I can immediately launch it. I don't got to worry about anything else. Super duper nice. So a lot of, like, again, I know Bungie's been getting a lot of hate. I know the game has been struggling a lot, but there's a lot of really good changes. Like everything that I've played through here, this is significantly better than it's been. Now, will that be enough? Will that, change the, mindset of people? Probably not, but I think that this is definitely at least multiple steps in a very positive direction. And again, for those that just have been wanting to play but just feel like burnt on it, I think this will at least help those people, kind of feel like it's a lot more worth their time to come back and, play some and get some levels, get some really good gear, etc. And that's all for today. I hope this video was helpful, and as always, thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful day.